Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kwakadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David, reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about some of the uproar that's going on at the New York UN building due to an upcoming event. But let's go ahead and read this first. This is Psalms 35:8. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. So recently, there's been an uproar at the UN council meeting, or at least for the upcoming council meeting that doesn't take place, I believe, next month in New York City, right, at the UN headquarters there in New York, right? And the reason is because these devils, they don't want to fall under the same jab mandates that their own system has created. You see, it says, NYC demands that diplomats follow jab mandates, creates uproar at UN. You see, and if you're unaware, the UN is part of the beast system, right? Described in Revelations, right? It's the beast which the whore rides, right? The whore being America, and the beast being the UN NATO system, right? That's been set up around the world to let Esau dominate over the world, right? When I say Esau, I'm talking about the so-called Caucasian race, because biblically, the Caucasian race would be known as the Edomites, or you could refer to them as Esau, right? Which was their ancient forefather from which they come. But let's read this article and just see what the issue is. Right? It says, New York City's legally questionable demand that all representatives and diplomats who attend next week's UN General Assembly meeting show proof of jab is threatening to derail the annual summit of world leaders as Russia and China protest the fact that their locally developed jabs won't be accepted. NYC's request that diplomats and their entourage show proof of jab before being admitted somehow received a backing of General Assembly President Maldivian Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid. In a statement released on Wednesday, NYC Mayor Bill de Blasio and International Affairs Commissioner Penny Abiwardena thanked UN diplomats ahead of time for working with us, calling them true New Yorkers. Unfortunately, not all diplomats are equally enthusiastic. In a letter to colleagues released on Wednesday, Russian U.S. Ambassador Vasily Nebnazia denounced these new requirements as clearly discriminatory, and accused NYC and Shahid of violating the UN Charter, which states that the UN is international territory. You see that? This is the divide that the Lord is bringing between these devils, right? Between the beast system. This is how that prophecy saying that the beast shall hate the whore and burn her with fire. This is how it all starts to come to pass, people. You see these small divisions and fissures that are being created between these diplomats that at one time stood together, right? These mountains, right? Because again, this is why these governments are referred to as mountains, because you see how they refer to this as a summit. What is a summit, right? It is the top of a mountain, right? Now these devils that are come together, these to represent their mountains, right now they're starting to be moved. Right? They're starting to not want to work with each other, right? Let's continue. In the face of Russians' complaints, Mayor Bill de Blasio doubled down If the Russian ambassador is against it, I'm for it. So much for the spirit of international diplomacy. You see that? This devil, Mayor de Blasio, right? He's talking crap to these Russian Edomites, man. You see, this is because the Lord has put it on the spirit of these devils to start to come up against each other, man. See, these are ravening wolves that are now biting at each other instead of coming at the prey. The prey being us Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? And they're starting to let their politics and their agenda, get in the way of their ultimate goal, which is to ultimately put down the Israelites. But this is beautiful, right? Because you see, Mayor de Blasio, he may know what's going on. He may know the truth. However, but because of what he's doing right now, chances are is that he may not even understand the full picture, right? All he knows is that his masters at the very top want the jabs to be mandated, period, right? And he doesn't understand why, right? He doesn't understand that it's specifically for us Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? Because you see, this is a secret, right? This whole biblical narrative about how the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans are the Israelites and the Caucasians are the Edomites, right? And that we are arch rivals that are destined to be pitted against each other until the end time and the second coming of the Messiah. This is a secret. And though a lot of these devils, like Mayor de Blasio, I'm pretty sure he's a Freemason or he's somehow tied in, and he knows a bit of truth, but he doesn't probably know the full truth. All right. Now that being said, see, he understands that he needs to control the population and so forth. Like, he knows that aspect of it, but he probably doesn't understand why this is all happening. Well, in this case here, right, this devil here, he's cutting off his nose to spite his face. Right? Let's continue reading. Keep in mind that the biggest issue here isn't that the diplomats aren't jabbed, it's that they're jabbed with jabs that haven't been approved in the US. Sputnik 5, a jab backed by Moscow and widely administered in Russia, does not have approval in the United States and is not on the World Health Organization's emergency use listing either. To try and make everybody happy, New York officials have promised to dole out free doses of the single-dose J&J jab by the UN headquarters in Midtown, but it's not approved in all member states either, though it has been approved by the World Health Organization, even as questions about dangerous side effects linger. To Mayor de Blasio, this amounts to a sufficient olive branch. If their vaccine isn't good enough, then they should go and use one of the other jabs. You see, these devils aren't budging, man. You see? But this ultimately also fulfills that prophecy in Revelations 13 and 16 that he calls us all, both small and great, right? See, these devils, they want everybody, and I mean everybody, to get these jabs, right? And why is that? Because they got an agenda to modify everybody's body, man. Because they're ultimately getting everybody ready for that mark of the beast that's going to come out, right? And to do that, everybody needs to be jabbed. So, with so many parties bristling at NYC's attempt to exert sovereignty over a piece of supernatural territory, it looks like the NYC's demand likely won't be met. A statement from the UN spokesman said that the UN has traditionally relied on an honor system and that they were working with the sitting president of the UN to continue the honor system. Another spokesman said the letter from New York City authorities doesn't specify any single jab for use, despite de Blasio's comments about offering the J&J jab. There's also the question of discrimination. Only 2% of nearly 6 billion jabs produced have reached Africa. You see, and this right here is all a tactic of distraction, right? These devils, because they want to basically move the discussion and the focus off them not wanting to get these jabs. And they're here saying, oh, but look, you guys are trying to push the jabs on us, but look, we haven't helped the people in Africa yet, right? You see, this is all a bunch of bullshit, man. And you see, the Lord is catching these devils in their own net. With hundreds of world leaders preparing to fly to New York City next week, there's a chance for ructions that could disrupt and maybe even delay the start of the assembly. And that's good, man. That's a good thing that the Lord is putting this division between these world leaders, these mountain representatives, right? Because again, this is how the Lord is starting to bring down the house of Esau and his empire, man. He's starting to bring division between him and his so-called allies, right? And again, this is a prophecy that the Lord explained what would happen, man, right? He says here, and if Satan cast out Satan, this is Matthew 12 and 26, Lucky. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall his kingdom stand, right? And though these devils, they may hold this summit, this just argument and this whole semantics about the jab and if which ones are approved, which ones aren't, this right here is causing a division between these nations, which are only allied by a string of hair, man, right? The Russians and the Chinese are on the verge of breaking away from the Western powers, man. They already have set up their own economic system. They've built up their militaries, and they're ready for war. So much so that America, UK, and Australia have come together in an historic unity to try to combat Russia and China, right? So this shows you, man, that the world now is starting to gather together for that great and terrible day known as Armageddon in the Bible, which secularly is known as World War III, which we are soon and fastly approaching. So I just wanted to share this article, Akim. Hopefully this is edifying. So until the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Ruach Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders, great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.